It didn't look like she went through and packed up a bag or anything.
This and all that on the bottom, so it'd be kind of hard to tell if she took a little bit.
So this guy, right off from the beginning, starts off by evading eye contact throughout the video. You see him, he's running away almost. He's running from the problem.
So it'd be kind of hard to tell if she took a little bit, or, I mean, it'd be easy to tell if she took a lot, but it's hard to tell if she took a little bit or not.
Okay.
A lot of mouth action.
Okay.
I think the mouth is already drying out there, and that's why we get all that mouth action around there. He's already under stress around that.
She tell you anything about leaving, moving out?
Not moving out.
Well, he's projecting something when he says that. If I were questioning him, I'd say, okay, what does that mean exactly, not moving out? Why didn't you say no? That's a pregnant statement, not moving out, with an exclamation point almost.
I mean, the last time I talked to her was this morning. She said she's going to take the kids to a friend's house, and that's where she was going to be. And then is classic for hiding time. After she said that, he killed her. We know he killed her. And it's that and then that hides time. I think Joe Navarro and Jack Schaefer call it verbal bridging. I would say it's hiding time, but those are great indicators that something's going on.
His illustrators are not in sync with what he's saying. He'll do the action, and then the words will catch up, or he'll do some words and then the action will catch up. So they're out of sync at the moment, which makes me feel like he's making something up here.
I mean, the last time I talked to her was this morning. She said she's going to take the kids to a friend's house.
Like Mark was talking about, we see these lags in his illustrators. The illustrators, again, are the things that people use when their brain is emphasizing specific words and phrases, like I just then, specific words and phrases. So when you have a lag in your illustrators, if you say something and then it comes down, or doesn't come down on time as you're talking about them, then something's going on in there. You're thinking, and he's thinking.
One thing we're definitely seeing here is forced ambiguity. So he is deliberately forcing ambiguity and uncertainty into the situation. And a lot of this, we see this signature eyebrow flash for approval. Every time he wants to appear innocent, every time he wants somebody to approve of what he's saying, we see this signature eyebrow flash. I think this gesture when he's pointing to himself, like concealing his hands while he's talking about some of this stuff right near his stomach, is very telling. I've seen lots of guilty people do this. I've seen very few innocent people do this palm towards the body when they're illustrating, or what Desmond Morris would call a baton gesture that's moving along with the cadence of somebody's speech.
I've texted her today and never heard anything, but the car's here. Car
Right.
seats are here. Unless somebody came and picked her up. But the people that I know, nobody's heard from her, nobody's seen her.
Right.
I think he's putting this whole story together as he goes. So this piece is coming out. He realizes the car is still there. Something I need to talk about. He mentions the car 3 times.
But the car's here. Car
Right.
seats are here.
And at the end of this, he says, the people I know.
The people that I know.
In talking to where my wife might be, it would be the people she knows or the people we know. And I think that's a very important use of pronoun.
He does a request for approval as he raises his brow, makes riveting eye contact, something Scott and I in our true crime workshop call the romancer. And then he starts to sway slightly. So he's a middle school romancer at a dance. He's doing this little sway. What's interesting about that is if you were to go and talk to his neighbors, we'll say that he never swayed in normal conversation. So it's not his baseline, it's when he's under stress. So we'll take that. You also then will go and look at a thing he did around staying in a relationship. And you can see when he's nervous in that video, he's swaying as well.
Sometimes in a relationship, you maybe make promises that can turn into a major betrayal, or minor arguments that could turn into things where you could say spiteful comments, which turn into bigger problems.
He ends with open palm gestures in the truth plane here. Good, honest gestures. Something makes me think, actually, having seen that presentation of him, that video of him presenting, that around about, in 2010, I guess it was, he may well have read one of my books, not paid as much attention to it as he should have.
Well, notice that he uses his hands, and I believe it's the passion plane, Mark, up in here when he's talking about, going back to I read all your books. So when it goes back to his illustrators, he's up in the passion plane when he's talking about things that he knows are true and things that he's done or he's familiar with, or he's comfortable with talking about. So it doesn't mean he's telling the truth when they're up here. All it means at this point is he's confident with saying those things because he's used to saying them. He's thought those out a little bit further than the other things where he comes down here. And when he gets down here, almost in the grotesque plane, Mark, then when he comes down here and they freeze, after he answers the question, they just sit down there and he just, bang, he's burning that cop. He just keeps looking at him because he's watching him to see if he needs to add any qualifiers to that, which later on, as we go along and his stress level gets higher and higher, he starts adding qualifiers where he doesn't even need to. Qualifiers are the things that make your answer sound more believable. It gives it more punch, more oomph, and things that just dress it up and make it sound like a true statement or something that's believable. So that's pretty much what I got.